Excellent. Once we have set up our super nifty format function, like I previously mentioned, now I would want to work on a single product. At the moment, if we click on a link, notice we navigate to products and then whatever is the ID. And of course, as I'm clicking on a different product, I'm still navigating to the same page. But of course, the URL is a bit different because each product has the unique ID. And I would want to start by setting up the fetch function in the products because a lot of things are going to be exactly the same. Now, the difference, of course, is going to be what we are dispatching because at the moment we're working with the products with the whole array. Now, of course, we'll deal with a single product. And also, as far as this function, when we're fetching for single product, we won't invoke it over here. So we'll have to pass this down and then we'll have to invoke it when we set up the single page. So when the user navigates to the single page, then in the use effect, we'll fetch that single product. And then, of course, we will display it. But in this video, I would want to set up my fetch single product because, again, it's going to be extremely similar to the fetch product and also set up everything in the reducer. And then once we've got that out of the way, then, of course, we can navigate to the single product. So I'm going to come up with a name. It's going to be fetch single product, single, and then product. It's also going to be a sync function. We'll also pass in the URL. In this case, though, we'll dispatch, and the actions, of course, are going to be different since it is a single product. So I have get single product begin, which is going to set up the loading. Then we have success and then the error. Now, I guess before we set up the function, why don't we also set up the state values? Again, we'll go with single underscore product underscore loading. That will be equal to false by default. Then we're going to go with, you know what, I'm just going to copy and paste because I need to change these values around. So I'm going to say product and then error. Now that one will also be false. And then as far as the single product, it's just going to be an empty array, meaning, I'm sorry, it's going to be empty object by default. So those are my three state values. Then, of course, I would want to dispatch. And in this case, I'm going to go with type. And as far as the types, if we take a look at the actions, and that's not over here, I'm actually looking for the actions. We'll see three actions. We have get single product begin, get single product success, and get single product error. So, of course, we are importing them in the product context as well as the product reducer. So, of course, now I would want to dispatch when I set up my fetch, the loading one. So we're going to go with get single product begin. So we're going to go with get. And by the way, I'm just typing all over the place here. I need to go with get and then single product begin. That is what we're dispatching when we start loading. Then again, we're going to go with try catch. And as far as the error, it's right away dispatch the error one. So pass in the object here. And of course, the type will be get single product error. And in here, I'm still going to get my data. So I'm going to assign it to a single product. So let's go with const and then response is equal to await. And of course, we'll use Axios and get. We'll pass in the URL. So the one that's coming in as an argument. And then we'll create a new variable, const, and then single product is equal to response.data. Response.data. And in this case, I'm not going to console log anything because, again, it's extremely similar to what we did before. And I find that there's going to be too much repetition. And in this case, I'm going to go with dispatch. I'm dispatching an action. And of course, this is going to be get single product success. And as far as the payload, I would want to pass in my single product, the variable that I just set up. So once we have this one, now, of course, I would want to navigate to my product reducer and take care of all of these three actions. So let me find my reducer, product reducer. I'm done with an error. So that was the last one. And we're going to go with get single product begin. And in here, I'm going to say if and then action action, and then type is equal to get single product, not success. Sorry, we're gonna go with begin. If that is the case, I would want to do two things. I would want to return a state first, dot state, and then in the state, I would want to change two values. I would want to set loading to true and error to false, because we need to keep in mind that it's a bit different for single product, because there might be a case where you fetch for one product and you get the error, but you're not going to get the same error for a different product. So that way, you need to take care of the fact that if there is already error, I would want to set it to false by default. And then, of course, if there is actual error, then yes, I'll handle that. So what I'm trying to say, unlike the previous one where we had just loading to true, I also would want to set by default that error to be false. So we're going to go with single product and then loading to be true since we start fetching. But just in case there's some old error that's still sticking around, I'm going to go with product, single product, and then underscore error is equal to false. So that's going to be my loading one. Then, of course, I also have action, and then dot type is equal to get single product success. So we have this type of action. And in this case, again, we're returning a state, we return all the state properties. Then single product loading is going to be false, of course. And also I would want to set my single product equal to action payload. So single and then underscore product is equal to my action and then payload. Because remember, in the context we passed it in, correct? We've got this one, the get single product success. And as a payload, we passed in this single product. And I'm going to navigate back over here. And the last one I would want to handle, of course, is the error, where I would want to flip it, where the loading will be false and then the error is going to be true. Now, in order to speed this up, I think I can just copy this one and change the value. So this is going to be error here. So error, like so. And then as far as the state, like I said, I'll flip the values. Loading will be false if there's an error, and the error will be true, like so. So, of course, I can save it. And next video, we'll start working in the single product page.